start at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining the webinar. I'll start at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining the webinar. I'll start at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining. I'll start at 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining. Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for yet another webinar series organized by the members of Management Club Inside Hawks on mental health awareness. Most of us have heard or read about the statement, a healthy mind leads to a healthy body. It is a simple statement but has a deep meaning. If a person has a healthy mind, he is bound to have a healthy body. To call ourselves healthy, we should be both physically and mentally fit. But most of us seem to be ignoring this simple mantra in today's time. A healthy mind lives in a healthy body. Mental health is imperative for physical health. If the mind is unsullied and pure, it will greatly help in maintaining physical well-being and health. Though a majority of us are aware and cautious of physical health, we generally ignore our mental health. It is because either we do not get to know about it or we hesitate to tell it to others, as the people around us are bound to look at it differently. Hence, we try to suppress it or suffer silently, leading ourselves to a condition where today's topic is about us. Yes, when I say about us, it is a webinar that is organized to gain insight about ourselves and to know the level of our mental fitness. When it comes to our physical fitness, we can easily state how fit we are through the help of calculating our BMI, through testing our blood sugar level, blood pressure, or cholesterol. But when it comes to our mental health, we fail to give such accurate information. This webinar is henceforth being organized to enlighten us and take us through a pathway towards being mentally fit and to make us understand the importance of mental health. Today, we have among us our resource person, Mrs. Swati Arora, who will take us into a journey through her talk and help us know about ourselves. Mrs. Swati Arora is a charming, young, and energetic person who is one of my favorite speakers too. I had the privilege to be a part of her webinar sessions. I promise we will get to see her with a positive and affirmative smile on her face till the end of the session. She makes her participants think in a different dimension. Even her solutions are unique and practical. She is one of the best to have as a resource person. I wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. Before we get started, I would like to express our sincere thanks to our principal, Dr. Nagraj Shenoy, our IQSC coordinator, their moral support, which helped us make this event come together to become a success. I would fail on my duty if I forget to thank Mr. Dharmendra, Senior Manager at our institution, who is the pillar for all our webinars. He has been rendering his complete technical support whenever required, untiringly and with lots of patience, and also has helped us in designing our posters and designs them perfectly, keeping in mind all our requirements. Sir, I, on behalf of the members of Management Club, wholeheartedly thank you for your unretiring support. Dear participants, I would like to inform you that we have an overwhelming registration of 500 and above participants for this webinar from all over the world and few from Kuwait and Philippines too. As Zoom allows limited number of participants to be accommodated, we have the webinar streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Those participants who could not join in our Zoom platform can view the session in our FB and YouTube channel, the link to which will be sent in the WhatsApp group shortly. Feedback link will be posted in the chat box during the Q&A session. Now, I request Mr. Shalini Ravani to kindly brief us about our resource person. Shalini ma'am, over to you.
Good morning. Mrs. Swati Arora is an ICF certified leadership coach, certified NLP practitioner, certified entrepreneurial coach. She has coached various entrepreneurs, leaders, and individuals who want to excel in their life. Ma'am has 21 plus years of experience in the corporate industry, handling and managing BPO business, both international as well as domestic operations. Handled the training and development functions for large setups like Tech Mahindra Limited, Zedco BPO Services, formerly known as Infovision Groups, and Digicall Teleservices. She has worked for various business verticals like banking and finance, insurance, telecom, tech support, consumer durables, FMCG, and retail. Ma'am has handled process training as well as voice and accent training for US, UK, and Australian processes. Mrs. Swati Mrs. Swati has executed many freelance training projects in soft skills, behavioral skills, and skill development training programs. Few of her topics on which she has delivered trainings are NLP Associate Program, Emotional Intelligence Masterclass, Goal Setting using NLP, Mind Mastery Workshop using NLP and Emotional Intelligence, Team Management, Team Synergy, Motivation, Leadership Skills, Situational Leadership, High Performance Leadership, Conflict Management, Feedback and Coaching Skills, Time Management, Email and Business Etiquettes. These are few of the topics that I could list out. Ma'am has delivered training in several other topics too. We are happy to have you here with us, ma'am. I wholeheartedly welcome you. Now, I request our resource person, Mrs. Swati Arora, to enlighten us. Ma'am, over to you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Ms. Rekha and Ms. Shalini Ravani, for the warm welcome. And I am absolutely privileged to be here in front of all of you on behalf of the Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce. My sincere gratitude and warm welcome to all the participants who are present here early morning on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock attending this webinar. My sincere thanks to the management committee, to the honorable principal and the faculty members of the Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Commerce and Science. Um, Today we are, like Ms. Shalini Ravani and Ms. Rekha have already given a little bit brief about myself. Before we start the session, I would also want to quickly enlighten you what are we going to talk about today and a little bit about myself as well. Obviously, Ms. Shalini and Ms. Rekha have already briefed a lot about me, but just to give you an insight why I'm here today and what am I going to talk about today before I get to the screen sharing mode. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be here to present this absolutely burning topic, which is one of the most critical topics which we are talking about worldwide, not only in India but worldwide, which is mental health awareness. Primarily like Ms. Rekha also mentioned, mental health awareness, we all talk about it, within the boundaries of our four walls. We talk about it primarily to, within ourselves, sometimes not even within ourselves, but a lot of people out there are suffering with this. And when I say mental health awareness, it's not only about depression or the chronic depression cases, it is to do with everything that we do on a daily basis. It is about you and I, it's about the whole global fraternity, how we can be aware of our own mental health, how we can measure our mental health, how we can identify where we are going out of the line and bring ourselves back, how we can get to live a happy and joyful life rather than being submerged into something which is various negative factors like stress, anxiety, depression, and multiple other negative emotional factors, right? So, just to talk about quickly about me, I am Swati Arora. I am a master NLP practitioner. I'm an ICF certified life and entrepreneurial coach. I do a lot of business and entrepreneurial coaching for various institutes, various small and large business segments across the world, not only in India. I'm also a training and development expert. For the last 21 years, I've been into the training and development field. Training is my passion, something which I deliver wholeheartedly till today, and which intend to do that for the rest of my life. And that's exactly what brings me here today, because I would want to pass on whatever I have gathered about emotional intelligence, about mental health, about emotional well-being to everyone in this forum today. And I will be absolutely happy to take on the questions towards the end of the session. So we have developed the session in such a way, designed the session in such a way that for the next 1 hour, 15 minutes, the session we will be talking about the topic about the session, and then we will also have a quick Q&A session towards the end of the class, which is around 15-20 minutes. I will be taking questions live from all of you, and I will be trying to answer all those questions to you, right? Now, before I go into the topic and before I go into sharing my screen, I would just want to say that mental health awareness has become more like a malign or a tumor in our society these days. It's not only in our society, in our country, it's basically a tumor which has developed over the world, right? When it comes to mental health and depression, ladies and gentlemen, India is the most depressed country. India is top as in the depression ranking, right? When it comes to suicide cases, particularly teenage suicide, we rank number 8. So that's how critical it is. We know that COVID is out there. It is bothering the entire nation. It's bothering the entire world. But and we are all struggling and fighting against COVID. But what about mental health and depression? I think that's growing more rapidly, and that's even something which is getting undetected, even not talked about. And that's exactly why I bring this topic to you today. When it comes to physical health, ladies and gentlemen, people are so conscious these days. We know everything about that needs to be known about physical health. We know what superfoods we need to eat, what diets we need to avoid, what are the diet fads we need to follow, what are the cutting edge technologies that we need to look at monitoring our physical health, what are the various workout and the gym routines that we need to follow. A lot of people are into yoga and meditation these days. When it comes to physical health, we take utmost care about ourselves. Let me also bring some light on, if we have any physical problems. Like for example, if we get a little bit of a chest pain or a minor pain in the heart, we run to the hospital. We take multiple medicines for BP, sugar, cholesterol, and thanks to COVID these days, we take medicines for common cold and cough as well. But when it comes to mental health, we don't even talk about it. We don't even talk about it, forget about talking about it outside in the society. We don't even talk about it within the boundaries of our four walls. We don't even discuss our issues, our mental health issues, with our own family members, with our own siblings, with our own parents, or even friends as a matter of fact. Why does this happen? Let me bring some light on that. Why does it happen? It happens because till today, the biggest reason is that if till today mental health issue or talking about mental health is considered as a social stigma. It's considered as a taboo in our society. Anyone who talks about mental health is looked upon, looked down upon. People say that, oh my God, there is a problem with this person. We map them or we label them as mentally ill or retarded or sick. That's not the case. And that's why a lot of people, in fact, the majority of people, more than 90% of people, actually tend to sweep their issues under the carpet and suffer in silence because we don't talk about it, because we don't communicate openly about it. It's like for me, I say, it's like someone knows that he has cancer, but he still decides to go untreated. It is that bad. Yes, the foremost reason for depression, ladies and gentlemen, is just one thing, which is negligence. Negligence or ignorance of knowing that we have something which is going wrong within our immune system. When something goes wrong physically, we come to know that immediately. But when something goes wrong mentally, we are still developing that. We keep it under the carpet, we nurture it, we let it grow, and then it takes the form of depression. And scientifically proven, ladies and gentlemen, depression doesn't happen overnight. It takes good 2 3 weeks for it to develop and reach that stage where it requires medical treatment. But before that, it does not require medical treatment. So if we identify the issue in the core situation, the first phase itself, we can actually nip it in the bud and eradicate depression completely from our society, right? I will be sharing with you some statistics as well, some serious facts about what we are as a country when it comes to depression and mental health issues. But let me before that tell you that today when I talk about mental health, I'm not only talking about depression and mental health issues per se. I'm talking about becoming aware of mental health, becoming aware and identifying our mental health from day one. It's not that there is no pain, that there is no issue, and that's why we mark it. If I have a physical pain, if I have a headache, I know there's something wrong. But if I have a pain in my, if there is something which is bothering me, I don't take it as a mental health problem. And that is what we need to identify. Today in the session today, I will be talking about some critical elements, how you can identify if there is an issue, how you can communicate it, and how you can seek support and help towards it. I'm going to talk about some very, very important aspects which are very important for people to just be happy, to be able to be happy within ourselves, to be able to communicate positively within ourselves, to be able to communicate positively with the people around us. So, mental health is not only about me or myself, it's also about if I am happy, if there is someone who is happy, only then you can pour happiness to other people, right? So, mental health is all about, I'm going to talk about today how I can be happy as an individual, how I can also cascade that happiness towards others, how can I be emotionally intelligent with people around us, around myself, how I can manage my relationships in a very fruitful, in a very joyous way, and how I can deal with the entire atmosphere, with the entire ecology in a very mentally healthy way. So, with that note, I would like to share my screen with you. Just give me 1 second, and please do let me know if you're able to see this. Yes. If you're able to see the screen, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you very much, Ritu. So in today's session, I do see a lot of people who joined in, like Ms. Rekha also said, that people had a heartbreak, or because of some other reason. But the teenage suicide rates are going up every day. 21 people, over 1 lakh people commit suicide every year in our country. And 1 out of every 5 people within our workplace are having workplace depression, which means people sitting next to us, people within our family, people who are our friends, who are our colleagues, people are suffering with mental health depression, mental health issues because of various reasons. WHO predicts, and this is something which is very scary, WHO predicts that by end of 2020, which is by the end of this year, approximately 20% of India will suffer from mental health issues. Thanks to the COVID situation, definitely there is a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, but because of various other factors as well, 20% is a very remarkable number and it's a scary number to reach. So today in my section, I'm going to talk about what we can do to take ourselves away from these negative emotions and how we can bring in positivity not only in our life but in people around us as well. So what is mental health? Just to give you a definition of what is mental health includes our emotional, psychological and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel and act. So it's not only something which is internally within me, it's also how do I behave socially? How am I behaving with my community, with my colleagues, with my people at my home, with my family members, with my friends, with my siblings. So it computes to everything. Mental health includes all these things. It also helps determine how we handle stress. The ability to handle stress is also a big factor for mental health. Relating to others, how do we relate to others? Do we understand their viewpoint easily or are we always rigid? And making choices, making decisions in life. Are we always confused in life? Are we always thinking whether to take that path or no? All this attributes to mental health. Mental health is important at every stage of life. We can't demark and say that mental health is required only after college years or only after a person attains the age of 18. It is from the childhood to the adolescent age to the adulthood as well. Everyone has mental health plays an important role in every stage of life. Physical pain is more apparent, mental pain is less dramatic. Like I said, physical pain you can identify quickly. Mental pain is less dramatic, but it has a long lasting impact and has a profound suffering. More profound suffering than a physical pain or physical ailment. Hence, I say that it is not the absence of any pain that there is no issue, and that is something is a myth, I would say. A lot of people, when I talk to them, they say there's nothing wrong with me. I'm absolutely fit and fine. There is not that the absence of any pain that there is no issue. Identification of the issue at the right time is important, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to ask this question. How healthy are you physically? How healthy are you physically? Can you give me quickly some answers? How many times in a year do you have your regular health checkups? And I would request you to use the chat box. How many times in a year do you have your regular health checkups? Once in a year, twice in a year, thrice in a year, once in 2 times, once in 2 years? Okay, Shalini ma'am says once in a year. Yes, Meghna says once in a year. Okay, great. Once, once. Okay. Anjali says once in a year. I'll have once in a year. Okay. Wonderful. I see a lot of people saying once in a year. Wonderful. Which means we are cautious, right? Which means we are cautious. We are aware that every once in a year, once in 6 months, we need to get our physical checkup done. And what are the measures of physical health checkups? BMI, is our BMI in control? Is our BP under control? Is the sugar level in control? Is it not going overhead? Yes, Prakash says once in a year. Wonderful. Is our heart rate okay? What about our diabetes? Are we not into that area or zone? What about any other thing? For example, if people are smokers, they also go for a smoke test. So all these attribute to physical health checkup. Now, and I'm very, very glad to see that kind of awareness in so many. AS Nagaraj also says once in a year. Wonderful. Now I would ask you this question and I want you to hands on heart give me the honest answer. How many of us know that we are mentally healthy? How many of us know that we are mentally healthy? How many mental health checkups do you do a year? And I would want you all to give that answer. Zero. Okay, Shalini ma'am says zero. Meghna says none. Okay, all right. Zero. All right. Honestly, no. Oh my God, I RJ Sanjay says, well, I don't think so. Okay, wonderful. Now, let me ask you, is brain not a part of your body? Is this area, this brain, this mind not part of your body system? Then when we go for a physical checkup, when we go from a physical checkup from head to toe, from hair to the toenail of our body, why do we ignore our brain and our mental health capability? So, today what I'm going to do is, most of us don't even know how to do it. Yes, Prakash, absolutely. And that's what I'm going to do with you. I'm going to share with you one of the many tests that you can do to check your mental health capability. And that will tell you how healthy you are mentally. Now, I would request everyone to get a big piece of pen and paper quickly with you so that you can write down the answers. And I want the right answers written down in a sheet of paper so that you can calculate the total score towards the end of the session. And I will give you the answers also. What does it stand for? So if you are ready, give me a thumbs up. If you are ready with a pen and paper, give me a thumbs up. Yes, ma'am, true. We have to check our mental health, Mr. Dr. Suguna says. Okay, Kushbu, I take your word. Thank you so much, Kushbu. I will be sharing the test now. Ready? Wonderful. Okay. So we are doing one of the many tests of mental health toughness, which is assessment for mental toughness or resilience. Okay, one of a very critical assessment criteria. I will be reading out statements. If that statement holds true in your case, say yes. If you have a slightest of doubt, say a no. Okay, true or false. That's it. Nothing more. You don't have to write too many things. Okay. So the first one is I don't give up when the odds go against me. I don't give up when the odds go against me, which means I'm a fighter. How many of us feel? If 50-50, give a 0. Prakash, if it is 50-50, give a 0. If it is yes, do a yes. If you have slightest of doubt, do a no. And write it down on a piece of paper. You may not want to chat it here. Write it down on a piece of paper. Okay, the next one. I'm going to go to the next one, which is I know how to relax during tense moments. During tense moments, I know how to relax my mind. Yes or no? True or false? That's it. If you are absolutely sure of this answer, say a yes. If no, say a false. I'm going to the third one quickly. If I make a mistake and get scolded for it, I can shrug it off and take it as a learning experience. If I make a mistake and get scolded for it, get scolded, get reprimanded, or get if I'm sure elders don't get scolded these days, but if you're being asked about it, or if you're being asked in a forum, if you get scolded about it, I can shrug it off easily. Shrug it off meaning I can take it off easily, and I take it as a learning experience. If you do that, say a yes. If you don't do that, if ever you have not been able to do that, say a false. Okay, I bounce back quickly from setbacks and failures. If there are setbacks and failures, if I have not been able to complete the project on time, if there is a failure in the project, I bounce back quickly and say, okay, not a problem, I will do it again. If that's the case with you, say yes. If no, even a slightest element of doubt, say a false. Okay, I have a strong belief in my own abilities. I have a strong belief in my own abilities. If you think that you are absolutely sure of your abilities and you can do anything that you desire, mark it a true. If no slightest of element of doubt, mark it a false. The sixth one coming up your way, if someone does something rude to me, I'm likely to shake it off rather than fume about it for a long time. If someone is rude to me, someone is arrogant to me, if someone says something in a very bad tone to me, I'm likely to shake it off rather than thinking about it and pondering about it for hours, or saying, oh my god, this guy is bad, etc., etc. So what do we do? If it is right in your case, say true. If not, then false. The seventh question coming your way. When I have experienced profound grief, such as the death of someone close to me, I can manage my emotions well and not let it affect me. This is something very critical, very important, and very realistic in today's time. If I experience profound grief, such as the death of someone close to me or someone known to me, I can manage my emotions well and not let it. And I see a lot of no's coming in. Okay, that gives me an indication. All right. I generally look at the brighter side of life. Even in the tough COVID time, I generally look at life from the brighter side of it. If it is a truth thing in your case, mark it a yes. If no, even in the slightest element of doubt, mark it no. And if you're all done that, give me a thumbs up. That is the last one in my assessment criteria today. If we are all done, give me the yes, wonderful, Khushbu. Thank you so much for being proactive. Now I would request all of you all to give a total to your marks. You know, all the yeses will get 2 marks, all the false will get 0. All the yeses will get 2 marks, all the no's will get 0. So just do a total up. Your total maximum total will be 16. It cannot be more than that because we have 8 questions here. Maximum 15, minimum 0. So quickly do the total up and let me know when you're ready with the answers. You may also want to put up your scores, your total scores in the chat box. I can see 10, 12. Charlie says 12. Nikita says 8. Okay. Ranjinikan says 14. Wonderful. I'm sorry I'm not able to read all them. Okay. Prakash says 16. Great. Wonderful. Sriya says 8, 16, 12. Okay. 8. I see a lot of 8s as well. So the marks are hovering between 8 and 10 and 12. Okay. Let me tell you what does it mean. You want to know what it means? I'm sure. Yes. Okay. So this is your resilience matrix. Your matrix to resilience scale. How resilient you are, which means how tough you are mentally. If your score is anywhere between 0 to 8, you are surviving. When I say surviving, you are emotional when it comes to setbacks and failures and turbulences in life. It takes a bit of time for you to combat your feelings and come back to a normal state. You need to work on your resilience building. You really need to work on your resilience building, and that needs to start from now. If someone has got between 0 to 8, nothing to worry about, it can be turned around, but you are more on a resilient, on a surviving mode, not on a growing or a thriving mode. Okay? When I say people who have got 9 between 9 to 13, I see a lot of people 10, 12, etc. Anyone between 9 to 13, I say they are growing. They are not completely there, but they are growing. You're emotionally strong. Understand your emotions when it comes to dealing with struggle situations or turbulences in life, and you can sail through. But my question is, do you really want to sail through, struggle through it, or you want to work on it? So it's time for you to work on it and don't give up on your life. You know how to come out of emotional turmoil with a little bit of effort. You can still do something more, build your resilience power a little more so that things can come and pass through you as a smooth sail and without less effort, without much effort. Okay, people who are between 14 to 16, I did find quite a few people as well in this category, a little limited, but I did find some of them. So these people are thriving, which means that you are emotionally very strong. You're rock solid. People who are 16, to be very honest, rock solid, very strong people. Nothing can go wrong. No setbacks or no failures can harm them. But my question is, and there is also an element of danger here. Sometimes when people are really, really strong, they say, man, I have become rock solid, I am like absolutely strong within me. When they become that, they tend to ignore other people's perspectives or other people's emotions. The socially emotional competence goes a little low. That's a study. It may not be right for everyone, but that's a study that if your resilience power is 100%, your social competence is a little low. So today, ladies and gentlemen, this was just one test out of the 6 attributes of emotional intelligence on how you can map yourself or scale yourself in the mental health equilibrium. When I say mental health equilibrium and emotional intelligence competence chart, we map emotional intelligence in 6 parameters. The first one being, and I will be talking about that in the coming slides, the first one being self-aware, becoming self-aware of your own self, becoming self-regulation, which is regulating your own emotions, becoming socially aware, aware about your surrounding, aware about your people, aware about their emotions, aware about their psychological factors, socially intuitive, which means being aware what people perceive about you, what they feel about you, how they react to the situations, and resilience is also one part of it. And the last one is outlook. What is your outlook towards life? Are you generally a positive person? Are you an optimist person or a pessimist person? Do you generally go to the futuristic view, or you are someone who stays in the blame frame, which is the past frame? Okay, so that's what I say. When we talk about scales, there are many scales of evolution, evaluation. This is just one part of it. Okay, but I hope this exercise has given you a little bit insight on how mentally tough you are, when it comes to resilience building. Okay, and if for people who are on the 0 to 8 bracket, my honest suggestion to you is start building on it now. And I can tell you how you can do that. Okay, so moving on. Now we talked about stress. We saw in the chart stress and depression. Stress and depression. What is the connection between stress and depression? Is everyone who is stressed depressed as well? Is everyone who has a stress related problem, are they all depressed as well? I would want to know, what do you feel, ladies and gentlemen? What is the connection between stress and depression? Is there a connection? Little egoistic? Okay, I did not get that, Dr. Suguna. Okay, what is the difference between stress and connection? Sorry, stress and depression. Any connection between that? Ladies and gentlemen, do you see any connection? Or is it that every person who is stressed is depressed as well? Okay, I get no as an answer. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Not everyone who is stressed is depressed, right? Depression is, like I said at the beginning, depression is a scale of measure where the person is really gone into a zone. 14, 15 days, he's been doing nothing. He's just been thinking, overthinking without any actual profound reason for thinking. That is something which is depression. That's more of a medical treatment that is required. But what about stress? Stress happens to all of us. Now, what can we do so that our stress is detected at the right time, at the right place, and we can actually move on with it and not lead it to depression? I will be sharing with you in the coming slide. So what is the connection between stress and depression? There are a number of reasons, ladies and gentlemen, which lead to depression. A lot of times depression is genetically there. It's a genetics problem, it's a hereditary problem as well. Medical conditions also lead to depression. Early childhood trauma, in a lot of the cases, early childhood trauma and physical or sexual abuse lead to depression. Even drug misuse, or any kind of drug overdose also leads to depression. These are all medically proven facts, but stress also contributes to a major portion of depression. The inability, like what we just saw, the inability to handle stress in a situation leads to or takes us towards depression. Now, what are the stressful situations in our life which can trigger the feelings of depression? Those are some of the reasons that I have given in front of you, some of the stressful situations which I'm sure at some point in time we all face these things. Divorce, separation, or getting into a fight with your spouse or partner, frequent arguments gets you into a stressful zone which further leads you to depression. Any kind of job loss, particularly during this time, I would say job loss or business slowdown, or even the fear of losing a job also takes people into a stress environment and brings them into the depression zone. Death of a loved one or close one gets you into a depression zone. Sometimes, particularly in today's situation, in the COVID times, I would say, then you may not be directly impacted by someone's death in your family, in your immediate family, but there could be news about it, or you have heard about it from some various people, and that's why you get anxious about it and get stressed about it. Those are also reasons for how you can get into a depression zone. Major natural disasters that can damage you financially and mentally also leads to depression. An accident or a trauma which can cause you physical, emotional and financial stress can also lead to depression. These are the various reasons why people get into a stressful situation and they eventually get into a depression zone. Now what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Let's look at that. How to deal with stress. I'm talking here particularly from your building your resilience point of view. How can we deal with stress? Today, in the environment that we are in, or whatever in the environment we are in, whenever, see, life happens. Life is something which today is COVID, yesterday it was tsunami, some years back it was riots, then we had some other things happening. These things keep happening. But how do we build our immune system? How do we build our stress environment, stress syndrome, which is building resilience? By doing some basic things. One is exercise regularly. Now, it's proven, it's a scientific fact that if you exercise regularly, you generate positive hormones, cortisol, positive hormones that can actually regulate your stress emotions. You can manage your stress emotions better. So, exercising regularly in whatever ways or form that you enjoy, whether it is a walk, whether it is cycling, whether it is yoga, whether it is dancing, Zumba, whatever you enjoy, just do it so that you can kind of regulate your body energies to take care of your stress syndrome. Strong, supportive relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not only emotional creatures, but we are social creatures as well. As a human race, we are also social creatures. So strong supportive relationships, people who have strong, rich emotions and rich relationships are mentally very strong as well. That's as per the studies proven, right? Yoga, meditation, mindfulness, prayer also gets you into a building resilience mode. Mindfulness, I'm sure a lot of people must have heard about it. Mindfulness is basically, those are the mindfulness talks about being in the present. We generally are, as a human race, there are some people who live in the past, which is, they talk about, oh my god, this happened to me, that's the reason why my life is so bad. This happened to me, that's the reason why my life is so bad. Because I married this person, my life is bad. Because I took up this course and I did not take up this profession, my life is bad. So they are always in the back, in the past. That also talks about, being mindfulness talks about being in the present. Past is past. You cannot change it. What you can do is you can learn your lessons from the past and change your present. Future, a lot of times we are always focusing on our future. What will happen tomorrow? The stress is built up on what will happen tomorrow. Today we are stressing about what will happen after the lockdown opens. A lot of you all have sent me questions. When I read those questions, a lot of you all have sent me questions that what will happen after the lockdown opens up. Why are we stressing over it today? Let's be in the moment. Today is what you have in our mind. Present. Mindfulness talks about being in the present. There are multiple videos, multiple audios which are available online to practice meditation through using mindfulness techniques. And I urge people to do that. Eating a well-balanced diet is also very important to build up your stress. Like they say, if you have a happy stomach, you have a happy gut, you have a happy body as well, and you have a happy immunity system as well. So it's very important to have a balanced diet and not get carried away with negative junk food, etc. That also builds your resilience. Consuming less alcohol. In stress situations, the consumption of alcohol, the consumption of caffeine, the consumption of cigarette smoking goes up. And it's proven that it goes up 3 to 4 times than in a normal situation. In a stress situation, our consumption goes up. If you consume that level of alcohol or that level of caffeine, it actually builds up negative hormones in your body, which can actually take up your entire immune system, thus resulting into less proficiency to handle stress. So it's important to be very, very mindful and aware of it, that if, while you can get immediate relief on that. A lot of people tell me, when I take the coaching sessions, a lot of people tell me I tend to eat ice cream in the middle of the night. I tend to binge on chocolate a lot. It is an immediate reliever. Yes, I understand that. It gives you peace of mind right now. But what is the long-term impact that it's doing for you? It is negating your stress syndromes in your body, and it's actually curbing your capacity to deal with stress over a period of time. So be mindful about that and be in control in overindulgence of all these things. Making time for self or hobby, taking up hobbies, very good way to build stress, build or resilience, I would say, is indulge yourself into hobbies, particularly in the lockdown situation. Right now, when everyone is at home, rather than sitting in front of the television and watching the social media pages on and on and on, and empowering or negatively empowering our mind with so many negative news that we get. Rather than doing that, indulge yourself in some hobby. A lot of people are nowadays indulging themselves into painting, art, craft, teaching people. I see a lot of my fraternity come out there and teaching people, taking webinars, doing social service online with people. Indulge yourself into something which is your hobby, which makes you feel happy. That's a part of motivation. If you're motivated, automatically your resilience towards life, your outlook towards life will improvise. Sleep well. It's important to sleep well. Sleep on time. Have a 8 hours proper sleep. Reduce screen time, especially before going to bed. This is one of the major reasons why people get stressed. Just before you sleep, please make sure at least 2 hours before your sleep time, if you're sleeping at 10 o'clock in the night or whatever time in the night, at least 2 hours before that, keep your mobile phone aside. That mobile phone, this gadget, it's one of the biggest culprit, I would say, for our mental health issues. Reason being, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on various social media pages. The only thing we see these days is people committing suicide, people attacked with COVID cases, people who are unwell, people who are, getting attacked with COVID, or people who are losing their family, losing their jobs, etc., etc. What people are not talking about is what is a positive outlook towards life. And what happens is just before we sleep, we are feeding in these negative thoughts in our mind, into our subconscious mind. And night, your subconscious mind is actually preparing its imagery in its mind that no, the world outside is not that bright. And in the morning when you get up, the subconscious mind tells you there is a negative zone to be in. You're already starting your day with a negative connotation. So it's important to reduce that screen time, especially when you're on the social media or when you're looking at negative news. It's very, very important to do that. And the last one I would say to deal with stress is halt technique. This is very important, and this is something which is I use in my day-to-day life for a response mechanism. Halt, the full form of halt is hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So they say when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, don't take a decision at that time. Take a 6 second pause. Take a 6 second pause, reflect on that situation, think about that situation, and then act or then respond. Like they say, when you're hungry, you generally get irritable, you get naggy about things. So go have a you grab something to eat and then talk about it. Then look at the situation. When you're angry, please take a cold glass of water, sit down, relax yourself, and then take the decision. When you're lonely, talk to someone. Talk to someone about this decision before you make the decision and then take the decision. Then respond to the situation. And when you're tired, let your mind, let your body relax and then take a response. I think this whole technique is something which really works magic for me and a lot of people I know. Please adapt it in your day-to-day life so that it can build your resilience and your responsive mechanism. Your response to the stimuli will increase. You know, when we say we respond to the situation, we generally blast out when in a situation, or when we or people say that I cry when something happens to me. Halt will really help you get there. Yeah, I see a lot of chats coming in. I'm sorry, very so yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Pragya. We have been creating awareness about COVID too much. Absolutely, they are. It's up to us. What is in our control? I say there is news everywhere. What is in my control? Do I want to get empowered by those news negatively? I would not do that. All I would do is switch off my mobile phone and keep it aside. Making some lifestyle changes, ladies and gentlemen, is also very, very important to reduce stress. Now, when I say lifestyle changes, what are the lifestyle changes that you can do? One very critical thing, and this is something my heart goes out to all the ladies who are at home right now, not particularly being gender biased here, but as a race, as a gender, we are very, very, we are very, very task oriented. Women are very, very task oriented. They want to do everything around it. I myself want to do, when I'm at home, I want to cook, I want to clean up, I want to work, I want to take care of my kids, I want to make sure I'm part of their homework, I want to do everything. But at the bargain, what happens is I'm increasing my stress level. At the end of the day, I realize, oh my god, I didn't have a single minute for myself, and that stresses me out. What can I do about it? I can talk about it, I can share responsibility. If there are 5 members in the house, if there are 4 members in the house, delegate tasks, share responsibilities. That way, you can take less in your plate and you can do justice to whatever you're taking. That brings me to the second point. It's actually interrelated. We tend to eat more than we can chew. You know, in office environment, in home environment, in whatever, there are a lot of people who are yes man. Yes man, yes man, yes man, which is, if you've seen the movie of Yes Man as well. Yes man is, I will give yes for everything as an answer. Can you do this job for me? Yes. Can you take up this work? Yes. Can you take up this new project while you're doing your earlier project? Yes. When I do that, what am I doing? I'm actually putting so many things on my plate, and my plate is overfilling, it's spilling over, but I'm still putting more things in my plate. And what am I doing at the end? I'm actually stressing myself. I'm not doing justice to either of the work, not my previous project, not my current project, and the one which I'm taking on new. So, what is the best thing to do? I do a mental representation. I draw out a pie in front of me. I draw a plate in front of me, and I say, okay, this is my plate. This is the circumference of my plate. How much time do I have? How much allocation can I do in my plate? Do I take more tasks than it can fit in my plate? And I don't do that. Visualize that plate in front of you, and it will really help you to take on only what you can chew and what you can digest. Don't eat more than you can digest or chew. Okay? Putting yourself at less pressure zone sometimes is also very important to reduce stress, which means that if you're actually absolutely you particularly people like who want to beat up themselves, they want to take on everything in life, They want to be in a pressure zone. They want to be in a pressure cooker environment, which is good. But sometimes in life, you need to take a break. You need to say, okay, let me not do 100 tasks at a time. Let me do only 50 tasks today and enjoy those 50 tasks. So, putting yourself in a less pressure zone sometimes is also very important to reduce your stress. Taking occasional breaks during the day and throughout the week is very important. During the day as well, if you're working specifically right now when people are working online, a lot of people complain that our work timings have gone erratic. We are spending 18 hours, 20 hours, 16 hours of our day just in front of the laptop. Take regular breaks, do a little bit of stretching exercises, do a little bit of meditation, but take regular breaks. Avoid overthinking. I know how you may say, how is it possible to avoid overthinking? To avoid overthinking, I will just say one thing. Just repeat yourself, remind yourself, do it now. This is something which is a chronic problem of procrastination. I talk about it in my procrastination sessions. Overthinking is equal to procrastination. So whenever you think that you're thinking about a particular thing for more than half an hour, more than 1 hour, just in one element without getting to a solution, divert your mind, do something else, and then come back to the point. Don't overthink in that zone for a long time. Engage yourself with positive people and activities. Very, very, very important. In today's time, particularly, if you are a positive person, I would say you have a moral responsibility or an obligation towards the society to spread positivity because there are very less people who have that positive vibe in them. But if you are not, cling on to positive people. Don't cling on to negative people. Don't cling on to people who are going to pull you away from that positive zone. So I'm not saying detach from your people, detach from your folks, but I'm saying rather than talking about a negative situation over and over and over and over again and building your stress level every talk, it's better to cling on with positive people who let you divert your mind to good things and positive things in life. Communicate openly, transparently with people. If you need help, if you need support, if you need requirement of any kind of help, communicate openly because it is up to you to take care of your own mental health. Like I said in the beginning, it is your responsibility. And cognitive behavior therapy, I will be talking about that in the subsequent slide. We talk about this in NLP. We say negative to positive. Changing negative belief to positive belief through a reframing technique or through a cognitive behavior technique, therapy. So this is something very, very important. These are the couple of lifestyle changes that you can do to reduce stress. Thank you so much, Dr. Soguna, for acknowledging that. Great. So I hope this makes sense till now. We'll move on to the next. So we've talked about how stress can be built up and how stress relates to depression and how we can reduce stress by changing some basic elements in our lifestyle, and we can actually see a significant change in our entire personality, in our entire life. Now moving on to what are the negative beliefs that lead to stress. Any idea, ladies and gentlemen, what are the negative beliefs that we hold within ourselves which lead to stress? I would wait to hear in the chat box. What are the negative beliefs that we hold within ourselves which actually lead to stress? So Dr. Suguna says doubt. Yes, absolutely doubt. Okay, anger. Okay. Shalini ma'am says anger. Yes, absolutely. What are the other negative self-beliefs that we have? Fear. Absolutely. Yeah. Fear. I can't do. Yes, very nice, Dr. Bhanumati. Yes, so all these attribute to negative beliefs which lead to self, inferior, ego, low confidence, wonderful, complexity, inferior complexity. Wonderful, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been absolutely responsive on this. I will tell you what are negative beliefs. There are three negative beliefs, destructive negative beliefs, which you can get rid of right now by just being aware of it and actually being cautious about it and reminding yourself about it. What are the three negative beliefs? The first one, like what you said, blaming self. Blaming self, doubting self, pitying on self, self-pity, self-doubt, blaming self, blaming myself saying, I can't do it, I'm such a bad thing, I'm such a bad person, I'm a dumb person, it's not possible from me, from my side, I can't do it. All those words are actually nothing but blame. What is happening in the bargain to do something, but just by doubting my capabilities, I am slowing myself down. And there are hundreds and thousands of such such examples you can see in your day-to-day life. Just the self-doubt doesn't let you take the first step. So the first thing that you need to do is get rid of that self-doubt. Empower positive beliefs in you. And I'll tell you how you can do that. Empowering positive beliefs about you, within you, is very, very important. So blaming self, absolutely a no-no. It will slow you down. The second element of negative belief is, which destructive belief is, blaming others. This is also something which we commonly do, isn't it? We commonly blame others. We blame others for everything. You know, my mother-in-law does this, my husband did this to me, my manager is so bad, my peers are very bad, they don't behave properly with me, my children are like this, they always make my life miserable. Blaming others is futile. Do you have control over them? So my question here is, think about something which is in your control. What can I do to control this? If my children are like this, or if my mother-in-law is like this, or if my boss is like this, if I have a rough boss to handle, can I change him? If not, what can I do to change myself? What is in my control? If today there is a situation outside, there's a person who's behaving rude to me, can I change him? I cannot go and change the world, but can I change myself? Can I make myself more adaptable? Yes, I can. So what will I do? I will focus on myself, not blame on myself, but focus on myself, and not focus on blaming other people. Blaming other people is futile and waste of time. It's absolute waste of time. You can spend the entire day blaming others. In an organization, this typically happens. If I ask my team member, why did you not do that task, or why did you not perform to the level of expectation, he would say, that person is a problem, that department did not do this, the operations department did not do this, the quality department did not give me the report, the HR department is not coordinating with me properly, XYZ. And there are multiple reasons to say that. But blaming others will only put you into a non productive environment. It will waste your time and energy. Rather focus your energy on what you can do and what is in your control. So I keep one question in my mind always. I keep that internal narrative in my mind. When I blame people, I say, what can I do about it? What is in my control? So that's one very important question that you can ask yourself if you are a person who blames others. The third negative, destructive belief is others owning my emotions. Now, let me give you an example. When I say, my boss has made my life miserable, he really is a bad person. He's made my life miserable. Really did not like the way my best friend spoke to me. She was absolutely rude. And I'm feeling very bad and very dejected about it. Now, when you do that and you ponder about someone else's behavior towards you, and you think about it for a long time, and you are into a negative emotional zone, what are you doing actually? You are actually giving control of your emotions, you're giving the remote control of your emotions to the other person. So it's like, you are basically, your emotions are not in your control. You're actually giving your remote control to someone else. They can switch off and switch you on. Do you really want that? My question is, do you really want that? Do you really want your remote control of emotions to be in someone else's hand? If you don't want that, this negative belief has to change right now. So whenever the next time someone is angry at you, someone is rude to you, there are situations which happen every day in our day-to-day life. What can you do about it? Must introspect and invite change, which means I must say, what can I do about it? How can I change myself? Is there a problem in me? First, I don't have to feel guilty about it. Can I change myself to get a better response? Can I do something about it to get a better response? Or should I just let go of the situation? If I have a nagging boss, if I have a nagging mother-in-law, can I do anything about it? I can't. So I make peace with that situation and I let go and I walk into a positive direction. So yeah, that's kind of people controlled by others. Absolutely, Dr. Suguna. So, getting your emotions into other people's control is a negative belief as well. The last belief that I would say, which actually empowers you, is not a destructive belief. The first three are the destructive beliefs. The last one is something which you have to hold on to, which is self-owning of your emotions. Self-owning of your emotions, which means you have to own your own emotions. And how you can do that, I will talk about in a subsequent slide. You have to own your emotions by keeping a tab of your emotions, identifying your emotions from time to time, seeing how you are changing your emotions, how you are regulating your emotions, but not letting others take control of your emotions or not blaming others for your emotions. If you do that, you will be able to cheer up or speed up yourself in a much better way, in a much higher direction in life. Yes? So those are the negative beliefs that we should not hold on to. What should you focus on is what I would want to ask you. What should you focus on today is what I would ask you. So how to overcome negative self-beliefs, negative beliefs? The first thing to do, practice gratitude. A lot of people don't do that. Practice gratitude. And this is something which I have taught to a lot of people. I personally follow that. Keep a gratitude journey with you. You know, it's very important. Sometimes we ignore the smaller, happier things of life just because we don't document it. Just because we are not physically or mentally looking at it and we are not even acknowledging that we have all those things. So maintaining a gratitude journey, writing down one good thing that has happened throughout the day, one good thing that you're thankful about, one good thing that you're grateful about in life. It could be anything. It could be thank you God for the lovely children that I have. Thank you that I have a job in my hand. Thank you that I have a shelter for myself. Thank you that I can talk, that I have physical features, that I have limbs and I have hands and I can move around. Thank you for the food that I'm eating. Thank you for anything. One gratitude every day before you sleep. And trust you me, after 30 days, when you open that gratitude journal, and when you go through that gratitude journey, you can actually see so many positive things in your life which you may ignore in today's environment. So the first thing to overcome negative beliefs is practice gratitude. Second thing is stop comparing. Now I would like to give you an example. While I would not quote someone's name here, but this is something which is very, very common. You know, we make our life miserable not because our life is miserable, but because we compare with others. Now I'll give you an example which recently happened. A person who came to me in the capacity of a coachee, he wanted to be coached on his business, but when he came, he was, the generally when people come for a session, they will be like, ma'am, my life is miserable. And I asked him, the first sentence he said is, my life is miserable. I'm in a terrible condition. And I said, how miserable? How do you know that your life is so miserable? What is happening in your life? Let me know about it. Tell me more about it. So then he started saying, my life is miserable because there are so many friends of mine who are abroad, who are, they're well settled, they have good jobs, they are making money, they have a settled family life, they have settled, job, they have money with them, they have good houses with them, they party all over the weekend, they enjoy their life, they are living in luxury. And all I asked is, okay, how is your life then? Do you not have a house? Do you not have a job? Do you not have a family? Do you not have an example? I will not go into the details further, but when I actually spoke that gentleman, I came to know that he does have a family, a very good family, a wife, two children. He has and a mother as well who stays with them. He has a good house in a city like Bombay, which is his self-owned house. He has a job, which is a stable job, particularly in this COVID times as well. He has a job and he's earning a decent salary. Now, what is he doing to make his life miserable? The only thing that he's doing to make his life miserable, despite knowing all these facts, is that he is comparing himself with so many people outside. And does he know anything about their life? Just by looking at the information which is available in social media, can you declare that they are much happier than me? Just by looking at people rolling over in Miami beaches, does that really identify or give me an indication that they are much more happier than me? Or does just because they are abroad, they are sitting in US and they have qualified that they are happy? There's so many people in the US or any other country abroad who are still not, who are still jobless, who are still not making a good income out of who are making a good earning out of their life. So how do you validate, that they are happier and you're not? So the only thing I would like to say in here is stop comparing. Compare apples to apples. You don't know their reality of the life. You know your reality of your life. So stop comparing. Be content with what you have. Introspection time. Absolutely, Dr. Pragya. Introspection time. Positive self-talk or narrative. Now, this is something which I use in my law of attraction class a lot. A lot of times we tell ourselves negative things. What I don't want. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be jobless. Now, when I do that, my subconscious mind does not understand don't. It doesn't understand the word no. Okay. I'll give you an example. If I tell you, don't think about the don't think about the beach vacation when you were last time. Don't think about the fancy dresses that you were wearing when you were out there within the picnic. Don't think about the cool breeze that was blowing in when you went out to the beach. Don't think about the warm sand that was touching your feet. Now, let me ask you, a lot of y'all, while I was saying all these things, when I said how many of y'all were actually thinking about the sentences that I was talking about? Mind will think only that. Absolutely. When I was talking about the cool breeze, your mind automatically switched on to the cool breeze. When I was talking about the warm sand touching your feet, automatically you could feel that kinesthetically in your feet, right? That's exactly what our mind does. When I say don't think about that yellow elephant, you will think about that yellow elephant. Your mind will picturize a yellow elephant in front of you. So that is what I'm saying. When you give your mind negative connotations, it will forget about the negativity because it will only concentrate on the information that you've given. So if I say I don't want to be fat, the mind will focus on only facts. Rather, I should say positive narrative, which is what do I want? What do I want? I want to become successful. I want to lose pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to be physically fit. I want to be positive person in my life. I want to be doing this job successfully. I want to be, so give all positive connotations to your self-narrative words. Build confidence by achieving small milestones. That's something which is very important. And people with self-doubt, people who always question themselves, I think this is something which is very, very important to do. Take small milestones in your life. Achieve small milestones and reward yourself. You know, don't look at a higher long-term 3-year plan. Talk about smaller plans. If you're talking about an investment plan, don't look at I'm going to invest 50 lakhs in the next 3 months, in the next 3 years. Rather, I'm going to invest, say, 50,000 in the next 1 month. Is that possible? And when you do that, give a pat on your back and say, okay, wonderful, Swati, I have done it. So those are the small milestones that I'm talking about. Build confidence by that. Build good habits like self-care and self-love. People in self-doubt and self-pity need to really take care of themselves, need to acknowledge themselves, need to give affirmations to themselves that yes, self-love and self-care is very, very important. I am positive, I'm a very good person. I can do this in life. I have done this in the past. And that's why I say your gratitude journal will actually help you. You can go back to your life 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line and say, see how many good achievements you have done in your life, which generally we forget. Yeah? With bad habits like criticism, blaming, whining, quit them. Focus on what you can do. Focus on how you can change yourself, how you can control the situation rather than focusing your attention to other people. Let them do their job. Let's focus on us first. Let's focus on improvisation of ourselves and be better versions of ourselves. So compare yourself, what you were yesterday and what you are today and what you want to become tomorrow. That is the comparison that I would say. Stop negative mental chatter. Now, what is negative mental chatter? Let me give you that with an example here. What is negative mental chatter? Negative mental chatter is this loop. It's a loop of emotions, right? The negative self-talk that goes on in your mind that leads to emotions of every thought, ladies and gentlemen, every thought generates an emotion or a feeling, right? That emotion could be of anger, disgust, fear, sad emotion, disrespectful emotion, anything. When you carry that emotion, you create filters around it. So when you're already into a fearful emotion, your filter is fear. So everything that you will see in front of you, you will have a filter of fear in front of you. Fear in today's situation is a negative filter. What can you do in your mental chatter to eradicate that emotion, eradicate that filter is what you can do to channelize your action. Yeah, so what can you do to focus on what do I want now? What do I want now? The world around is good, bad, whatever. What do I want from the world? What is in my control? What can I do about it? How can I take control of my emotions, my psychology, my ecology around myself? How can I change it? What are the resources that I need? What are the resources which means what are the qualities or what are the capabilities that I need that I have are in me? I have confidence, I have the knowledge to turn it around, I have the positivity to turn it around. What else do I need from outside? How will I get it? For example, in this current situation, when we are in a lockdown, a lot of people have taken, online went ahead, I attended a lot of webinars, I did a lot of R&D research around the Zoom platform, the Google Hangouts platform. I I took information about all the virtual media, virtual platforms which are available. How can I take sessions here? How can these sessions be more interactive, engaging, etc.? And that's how I made a presentation around it, right? That's how now I'm doing webinars. In the last 3 months, I've taken more than 8 webinars, successful webinars. Why? Because, like I said, I was never empowered. I did not have that resource to take a virtual presentation. Never before the last 3 months. I have never taken a virtual presentation. I was always physically taking webinars and seminars in my sessions. But when I moved to this situation, I used my internal as well as my external resources to find out how I can change the situation. So that's how you change your mental chatter into positive emotions, and your positive emotions will generate positive filter around you, and you will be able to see the world with a positive filter, with a positivity, and your actions will also be accordingly positive, right? Okay, so this brings me to, I will just give you a gist of what is emotional intelligence and how emotional intelligence can manage your overall mental health. Okay, so this is just a chart to explain to you that emotional intelligence is not only about self or self-regulation, it's also about the overall, our overall conduct with others as well. So emotional intelligence, there are 4 aspects or 4 pillars into it. One is understanding self, which is emotional self-awareness. Emotional literacy. When I say emotional literacy, a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, did we know that we have 54 different types of emotions that we go through in our day-to-day life? 54 types of different emotions. Generally, we categorize our emotions and say, I am angry, I am sad, I am fearful. Do we know what kind of emotions are there? There are so many emotions, and we need to get to the literacy of that emotion. When I say literacy, we need to identify what are the different emotions that may have that are there in the environment, and what are we feeling at that point in time, which is leading to anger or frustration or sadness or happiness, whatever. So being emotionally literate is also very, very important, right? Self-assuredness, which means when I know that what I am about, I will be self-assured to be able to take the action, right? Managing self is all about managing emotional regulation, adaptability to the environment, flexibility to the environment, being optimist, having an optimism outlook about life, and self-motivation. Are you a self-starter? Developing that. Understanding others is also a part of emotional intelligence. Only by being self-reliant, self-managing, I am very good. Only by saying that, am I going to be a successful person? No. Leaders, people who interact with people, I'm sure a lot of you all interact with your teachers, professors, your performance, your output is basically dependent upon the students, right? And how do they agree with you, or how do they interact with you, or what is your rapport with them? So how emotional intelligence also talks about how you can understand others, how you can empathize with others. It's a very, very important topic, and it's something that's very, very close to my heart, which is empathy. How can you build your empathy towards others? How you can recognize others' emotions? How you can analyze others' emotions? When you do that, and particularly people in leadership positions, people who are at senior levels, really need to get these, emotions, these understandings in control to be able to regulate their EQ quotient in life, right? And managing relationships, which is assertiveness, collaboration, influence, and developing others. So these are the emotional intelligence topics that I will be talking about, and which can relate to mental health awareness. Quickly, that brings me to the last slide of my presentation. Some quick facts about emotional intelligence, which are not known to a lot of people, and how you can regulate your mental health with using those. Emotions are universal in nature. Yes, the trick is to recognize it and label it. Just like we label other things in our life, label it. Yeah. EI is about differentiating emotions and identifying your triggers. Identifying what triggers you. If I know that I'm allergic to peanut butter, I will avoid it. If I know I'm allergic to pollen season, I will avoid going outside in the pollen season. Do I know what are my emotional triggers? To be aware of the emotional triggers, I'll be able to avoid it. EI is an individual concept, yes, but it can also synergize, which can synergize our social interactions with people. So EI is very, very important in social interactions as well. There is no right or wrong emotion. Rightness and wrongness is decided by the result that occurred due to the emotion. Yes, it is a result of I really like this one. There is no delete button, but the brain has the power to build a new circuit by putting your focus elsewhere. It's also called brain muscle training. And this is what we do in our NLP and emotional intelligence class. When people say, I am stressed, I have been like this throughout my life, I know it is not that I'm saying that there is a delete button that you can erase it out from your life, but you can train your mind. Your mind is like that pet of yours which is in your house. The way you have trained your pet, you can train your mind as well. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, if your mind is in your control, you have the control over your life. So it's very important to take control of yourself, to take control of your mental awareness and change your life. That brings me to the surprise element that I was talking about in the beginning of the session. This is something which I've come up with. I am doing this already, which is my emotional intelligence masterclass. In here, I talk about a lot of aspects which I've just shared with you in the presentation, which is I talk about emotional intelligence building, managing your emotions, identifying your trigger emotions, how to deal with them, how to create an outcome orientation in life, how to assess your emotional styles. There are various styles, and in this session, in this masterclass, I will also be sharing the various assessments with you. I have just done one assessment with you today, which is the resilience assessment. I will be sharing with you various assessments that can evaluate your emotional well-being and how can you change it, the state change techniques and strategies as well. This is a 4-day workshop, 3 hours each. Over the weekends we are doing it, and it will all be in an online platform, so anyone who is interested can enroll. You can get in touch with your organizers, they will be able to tell you more information about it. And these are all flexible time slots, and post-training support also will be provided to you. What are the post-training support that I will be providing? One is I will be taking one free session with you, a coaching session with you to help you develop in whatever emotional state of mind or in your business or in your work, in your career that is required. I will be giving you the EI Masterclass Guide of Learning free of charge. I will be giving you an assured 50% off in my next program, which is, I do conduct a lot of NLP workshops and a lot of other programs. Ma'am has already briefed about it. And I will be doing monthly Q&A sessions as well, where in a larger forum I will be attending a lot of Q&As alongside, right? So that is the program all about, EI Masterclass. The original price of the program was 14,999, but because of the online situation, I have slashed it to 85%. It's now coming to you for just 2,999, and that's going to be four days, 3 hours each. It's going to be a 12-hour program, and all online. So you can reach out to me, you can reach out to the organizers, they will be able to help you with it. So that brings me to the session, and any questions you may have. I do have a few questions that I would want to take up from the session that ma'am had shared with me earlier. So if ma'am allows me, I will be able to answer those questions. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So before I take on the live questions, I will just quickly answer some of the common questions that you have mentioned in the Google form. I will just take up some of the questions. So, Mr. S.U. Mohammad Rizwan from the New College Chennai has asked a question: how to handle stress among kids during COVID-19 situation. It's a very interesting question and very important as well. I'm sure all of us have kids. Um, Handling, kids during the COVID situation, only three things I would say. First is communicate openly with them. Because a lot of times, we try to hide information from them, we try to protect them from all the negative information. But as a matter of fact, our kids are more, acquainted with the information. They have access to all the information around the world thanks to Google. I call it Google Baba in my dictionary. So Google Baba gives them all the information, plus they have access to social media, they have access to a lot of other information. It's better to communicate openly with them, especially teenage kids, and reassure them that everything is okay. The second thing that you can do is spend quality time with them. I know everyone is busy, all of us are busy throughout the day, in our office job, in our home environment, in our daily course. What you can do is slot out some dedicated time with your children, without your mobile, without your laptop, without your gadgets, some quality time with them, doing anything that you like to do, anything that your kids like to do, even if it's like small, playing some tambola or carom or whatever with them. I think that only breaks the ice between you and with the kids. I think they will be more engaged. So keeping them engaged and communicating Mr. Mohammed, it was sorted out that question. Are not mental health issues exaggerated in talks rather than it is being practiced? And this question has come from Mrs. Grishma Francis from New Horizon College, Bangalore. Yes, exactly, Grishma, and that's exactly what I said in my emotional intelligence workshop as well, in this workshop as well, that things are literally exaggerated, like, they exaggerated like a rubber band, but we are supposed to practice it in our day-to-day life. If we are practicing emotional intelligence in our day-to-day life, we will be more able to help ourselves and others as well. It's like walk the talk, it's lead by example. Just by saying it or just by making a propaganda about it, it's not going to change. It is how we deal with our own selves, how we conduct our own selves, and how we become role models for others so that they also follow that path is very, very important. So that's how you can, make it more less exaggerated, I would say, not more exaggerated. Okay. This is Seema Shetty from DSAC is asking this question. Is there something really called work-life balance? Okay, how it affects mental health? It's a very important question, and I think burning question, I would say, in today's generation. Work-life balance. You're inside the house, but still there is no work-life balance. You're always in your laptop. You're always in the meetings. You're always on calls. Now, I would just ask one question in this situation to myself and to everyone else who has this problem is ask yourself, what is important to you? What is important to you at this point in time? If you think your attention towards your ecology, your children, your family members is important, you will take out time. If you have importance somewhere in your subconscious mind, you will take out time. It's about time management. It's so work-life balance is about time management. It's about making time for ourselves, and we say that, right? When we are interested in doing something, we do take out time for it. If we want to do something, we will take out time. So it's more on time management and what is more important to you. Keep asking that question to yourself. What is more important to you right now? Okay, the next question that I would want to take is uh, Ms. Deepika HC has asked this question. Can we keep our mind stress free by practicing cognitive restructuring or by being involved in guided imagery? Yes, absolutely. Deepika, it's a wonderful question. Yes, cognitive behavior therapy or guided imagery is basically nothing but visualization. We do a lot of visualization techniques in NLP, in law of attraction classes as well. So visualization empowers your mind, or guided imagery, it empowers your mind to see beyond what is there in front of you. It actually takes your mind to a level which can be achieved, and when you're actually doing it over and over and over again, your mind, your subconscious mind pushes you to do that work, pushes you to get into action rather than just sitting and overthinking. It's something which I have done and I've practiced in life a lot, and I also propagate this a lot, that whatever you have a goal in life, whatever you aspire to become in life, whatever you think that you want in the next 2, 3, 5 years, visualize about it. Make an image about it. Visualize it from every sense and involve all your senses, visual senses, kinesthetic senses, auditory senses. Live in that moment and do it every day. When you do it every day, your mind, your cognitive mind, and your subconscious mind will actually make you walk towards that journey, and it will become a very smooth sail. And actually, when you achieve that day, it will be more like a deja vu in front of you. You know that I've actually been in this event already. So yeah, it's a very interesting point, Deepika. And yes, you can get rid of stress as well because you're mentally mapping your mind to be more happy. Being an introvert, I am not too sure who has asked this question, but this question has come. Being an introvert, how one could control suicidal thoughts and feeling after a failed relationship without telling others. Now, it's a myth. It's a myth that someone who is an introvert is only going to commit suicide. That's not the situation. Extroverts or people who are surrounded by a lot of friends also commit suicide. So there are two things which do not match, contradicting, I would say. Yes, but introverts definitely. The idea is if you are going through a breakthrough in your life, you're going through a situation, a rough patch in your life, whether it is because of your relationship or your broken relationship or broken situation in your work area, etc. Talk about it. It's important to identify, and that's exactly what I say. Identify your emotions in the very beginning. Depression, like I said, remember, depression takes 14 days to mount up and reach its pinnacle. So if you are in that zone when you're actually going through depression, when you're feeling like doing nothing and just overthinking and thinking every day, get into that zone immediately. Take a pause and reach out for support. Reach out for support. There are counselors, coaches like myself, therapists, psychologists. Reach out for support. If you can't talk to your friends or family, reach out for support to all us, people like me and others who can help you out. How to handle mental stress during this pandemic when you see all people suffering around us and many number of deaths. Again, this is a very interesting question, but I would say, are all people suffering? This is an understatement. It's an overstatement that I would want to say. When you use generic statements like everyone is suffering or all people are suffering, let me ask you this question: is everyone suffering because of COVID? Take a factual evidence of that. Go and check on the internet how many people are actually being attacked, how many people have come out of that situation. Don't go by just what people are telling you and filter that emotions and become, like I said, the negative loop. Don't let your negative emotions become your filter. So this is absolutely what I talk about. This is a filter that everyone is suffering. Not everyone is suffering. Some people are suffering. Yes, the world is suffering, but people are also getting better about it. They are recovering as well. There's a 98% recovery percentage, more than 98% recovery percentage. The good part is that people are coming out of it. And again, like I say, what is in your control? Is it in your control that people are suffering, or can you control your own mental health? To be able to regulate that and be better in your ecology as well. So yeah, that brings me to the end of the session, ladies and gentlemen. And I would be happy to answer. I see a lot of questions flowing in, and I'm happy to see so many questions. I am not too sure how many I'll be able to answer in the given time frame, but I will leave it open to Shalini ma'am and Rekha ma'am to help me out which questions you would want me to answer.
Yeah, ma'am. There are a few questions, but I have noted down. I'll just ask you these questions. One question is from Dr. Sugna. The question is, according to you, your opinion about astrology and horoscope.
According to me, astrology and horoscope. Okay. I would not want to make a negative statement here. Obviously, every profession is very good, and every professional people go through and study and everything. After their studies, after their education, they reach to that pinnacle to be able to empower people. However, astrology and numerology or anything on that sort, if you are, or horoscope, if you are able to channelize your mind in a positive way and take it as in a positive stride and go towards the goal-oriented future, I think it helps. If it makes you more fearful, then again, state of mind. When you're going through a horoscope and you say, "Oh my God, what's going to happen today?" If that's the opinion, if that's the connotation that you have, I would say quit it. Don't go for it. But if you have a positive frame of mind and say, okay, my day is going to be better and I'm going to make it more better, then, yeah, I think it is good. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Dr. Suguna.
Next question is from our student J. Meghna. Yes. The question is, how to control anger during sensitive issues.
How to control anger during sensitive issues. Okay.
Yes.
Many things, like I said, halt technique, very important. Responsive. Halt is a very good responsive technique. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Anger happens when, mostly when you're experiencing either of these emotions. Anger is something which is a pinnacle of that's the peak emotion. It is not triggered from that emotion, it is triggered because of something else. So check within yourself. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? If anything like that, pause, take a moment. And I would say it's a 6-second pause rule also which you have to follow. Take a pause for 6 seconds. Especially in anger management situations, I say go out from that situation, drink a cold glass of water, shake off yourself. I would say shake off, we call it in NLP, we call break state. Break state, do something different, and then come back and think with a different approach. But don't respond immediately. That is a very big, distress factor that we give ourselves. Yes, ma'am.
Swati ma'am, there is a question from YouTube. There was that because two of the participants are there.
Right.
From Ganesh Prasad, he has asked a question: what to do if we are successfully failing in achieving something?
If you are successfully failing in achieving
Yeah.
something, that's an interesting one. Now again, this is something which I see under the under the surface. I see a self belief, negative self belief, right? Which means you have already declared yourself a failure. Now, what makes you declare yourself failure? The first thing that I would like to say is when you say successfully failing in doing things, I would want you to think about all the things in your life that you have done which you have positively succeeded in life. You know, be it a minor thing as well, be it a minor thing, getting that 40 out of 50 marks is also a minor element of success. But list down all the successful things that you have done and eradicate all the negative failures or so-called failures, I would say. There is no failure, by the way, but so-called failures that you have termed yourself. Think about all the good things that you have done. Think about all the achievements in your life, be it smallest of achievements, and then bring yourself into the light of I can now successfully succeed and not successfully fail. So I hope that answers your question.
One more question from YouTube they've asked. Dr. R. Anita Ramakrishnan, she has asked this question. We store unwanted thinking in the temporary memory. Can you explain how to eradicate or remove that?
We store unwanted memory in the temporary.
Yeah, temporary memory. Unwanted things in the temporary memory. Okay, we have to store unwanted things in the temporary memory part in our brain. Can you explain how can we do it? Maybe she meant to just not to permanently keep it and deteriorate or
Absolutely, yeah. So there is nothing called temporary memory or permanent memory, to be very honest. There's something which is basically, if you're consciously thinking about it, it will become part of your belief system, it will become a part of your memory, it will become a part of your decision making filters. Right? The only best way to think about it is that, just get into doing things. Just get into the action mode rather than the thinking mode. And these things happen generally with procrastinators, people who are just sitting and thinking about it. I would say get into the action mode. Prove to yourself that you are better today than tomorrow, than yesterday. I think that's the only way to go about it. And obviously multiple other ways as well. But eradicate this negative connotation about yourself and just move on. Just keep doing. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is from Aishwarya Nair. The question is, how do we control the negative vibration around us?
Okay, how do we control the negative vibration around us? Okay, Aishwarya, like I said, you can't control others. You can't control what others say, what others speak, what others think, right? But what you can do is you can control your state of mind, and that's what NLP talks about. That's what NLP and emotional intelligence talks about. When I go to present something, when I go for a seminar, when I go for a public speaking event, can I control what other people are thinking about it? The thousand people sitting in the podium, can I control what they are thinking about or what are the negative or positive emotions that they are flowing in towards me? No, I can't. I can't take control of thousand people's mind. What I can control is I can tame my mind, I can train my mind, and I can bring about a state of change in my mind that I am absolutely supremely confident no matter what, I will be able to then let go of these emotions. I can ignore these emotions. I can be more alert in myself rather than focusing on others. If you practice state change technique, you will be able to be more in control of yourself rather than observing what is happening around you and be, in control of that. Basically. So you can control yourself. You cannot control people.
And the next question is from Priya Mani, and the same question is asked by many people. The question is how we control our anger.
How do we control our anger? There are lots of techniques controlling anger. You can disengage yourself. First thing is you can disengage yourself from that. A lot of times anger happens because there is a in emotional intelligence we say, getting to the synergy of the problem, getting to the intent of the problem. So anger is not because someone said to you something. Anger is because there's a burning issue behind it. So get to the root cause. In emotional intelligence we call it emotional journaling. Okay, write down throughout the day. It's a good technique you can do for starters. Is throughout the day, write down, maybe towards the end of the day, write down all the negative emotions that you have been triggered off during the day, and what are the situations when you got angry. What you will come to know is what are your trigger situations, and do it every day for good 15 What you could do is you can write down which are the situations which got me angry and get to the bottom line. Ask your question, what happened before that? What happened before that? What happened before that? So if someone saying something triggered you, so that way, you will be able to identify your trigger feelings, your trigger emotions, that this thought or this feeling or this action gets you into an anger mode. And what you can do is then you can start to regulate it. Then again, adding on a state change technique, you can say, okay, if this situation happens, it's like, I'll give you a common example. I'll give you a very simple example. If I know I'm very scared of dogs, as a child I was very scared of dogs. I would run away from a dog, even if that dog is 1 kilometer away from me. So what do? The fact that I was aware that there is a dog sit in the corner of the road, I would take a different route and I would go from the other side. So this is exactly what I'm saying. Being aware of that trigger emotion, that trigger is a dog. I'm aware of that trigger emotion. I would avoid it or I would learn how to combat it by doing a state change technique. So there are two things to it. Either first thing is to avoid it so that you can, first thing is to identify it, second is to avoid it, and then learn ways and methods to combat it and regulate your mind around it. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry, I forgot to speak the name. Sorry.
Ma'am, there's a next question in the Zoom. Vijayalakshmi B has asked this question: how to get motivated to do a personal job in the midst of being an assistant professor and a housewife?
Okay, personal job would be anything that you like to do. Motivated if there's something which makes you happy. It could be anything. It could be dancing, singing, gardening, painting, drawing, etc. If there's something which keeps you more happy, it gets you into a happy zone. Again, like I said, visualize yourself throughout the day or in the morning at least. Visualize yourself doing that. It's called peak performance coaching. Visualize yourself doing that activity and loving that activity. Get energy out of that activity. You will make sure you will take out some time of the day to perform that activity because you're actually visualizing that in the beginning of the day. So do that, and you can definitely do your personal work as well. It's not that because you're a professor you can't do your, and you have to do only your work in the office or your household work. You have time. Like I said, it's important to engage in self love and self care as well. So visualize that first in the beginning of the day. That way you'll be motivated to actually do it and perform that task throughout the day or some time of the day, and you will take out that time to do it. I hope that answers your question.
The next question.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The next question is from Sunandita Pan. The question is how to handle merciless, non-humanitarian boss daily who never motivates and helps.
Okay, it's a very interesting one. Merciless and non-humanitarian. You actually adjectivized your boss very nicely. Again, what are we doing? We are blaming the other person, right? Now, when you blame the other person, it's a negative belief that you're showing. You have already blamed that person and you've given your emotional control, remote control of your emotions to your boss. What can you do about it? You can either try and understand why is he merciless and why is he, I mean, I would not say merciless as well. If he is rude to you or if he's angry with you or if he tends to shrug off things on you, try and understand, communicate. I think for starters, communicate with him what is the expectation that he or she has from you. Maybe you're not able to match up to his expectations. Maybe you're over-delivering or under-delivering to what he's expecting. I think a communication will be able to give you some light as to what you can do to be able to make him happy so that he's happy with your performance and he gives you some motivation or some pat on the back. The second thing is some people are genuinely not, like I said, they are not emotionally intelligent of the other people around them. So that's the reason why they are genuinely not very aware or cautious about motivating others. Fine, not a problem. I'll keep myself so self-motivated by making myself competent enough to be able to do tasks so that I can pat my back myself and say, okay, good job done. I am able to perform this task. I was able to complete this report within the stipulated time and submit to my boss. And my boss did not come back with any negative remarks, which means he is happy with it. So, you can reframe yourself accordingly. There are two things you can do.
Ma'am, there is a question from Prakash Lalwani. He says how to deal with a situation if somebody breaks your trust.
How to deal with the situation if somebody breaks your trust. Uh, Again, in lot of context, it's depending. Breaks your trust. Again, I would say, I understand that regenerating that trust sometimes becomes difficult for people. Again, looking at things from the other person's perspective. So in NLP, we say that behind every intention there is a positive. Behind every behavior, there's a positive intention. Understanding the positive intention of that person's behavior, maybe not for you, but for that person himself. If he or she has cheated upon you, if he or she has behind your back talked about negative about you or anything. I don't know what is the reason for that distrust, but whatever was the reason of the distrust, the behavior behind the distrust, I think first understanding, having a clear communication and understanding it with a very open-minded approach that I'm going to step into his shoes and understand from his perspective. A lot of people are not able to do that because you are too concentrated on your own emotions, which is good. But if you are not able to understand things from other person's perspective, what is it doing for you? Two things. One is you will never be able to trust on that person ever again, which is again a negative. It will break your relationship forever. The second is you will also have trust issues building with trust with other people. So it's important to look at things from other person's perspective as well. And if not completely forgive that person, at least let go of that situation from your mind and say, okay, whatever he did was in his best interest. It's okay, I will let it go. So even if you do that practice, what will happen is the next time if you're faced with some other person, you will be able to trust that person. But if you keep yourself held on to, oh my God, I was cheated upon, you will never be able to build that trust again with someone else.
Ma'am, the next question is from Fatima Afrin. How to combat depression?
How to combat depression? First, I would say, Fatima, you have to identify whether it is really depression, that you're going through or anyone else is going through. Like I said, depression, there are stages of depression. There are 14, 15 days if a person is in a zone already and they are just not able to come out of that zone, no matter how good or positive life is. You need a clinical medication for that. If you are not depressed, but if you are basically stressed or anxious about things, fearful about things, and that's what you're calling yourself depression. That is why I say identifying and labeling your emotions are important. What kind of emotion you're right now into, whether frustration, irritability, anger, fearful, rejected, etc., etc. If you're doing that, how do you combat? I've given you a series of exercises that you can do to start off with being grateful about whatever you have around you, involving yourself into doing more activities rather than sitting and overthinking about it. Involve yourself in physical activities, declutter your mind. Physical activity could be anything. I mean, for example, if I don't have anything else to do, I just pick up my wardrobe and clean it up, and rearrange the stuff again. So just involve yourself physically into some activity so that you're cognitively also, your mind is also, into that spiral mode then. And then, you can understand if it's still into moving you into negative thoughts, it's depression, and I think you will need some clinical help as well. Sorry.
Ma'am, one question from Atul Girish. A person has asked how to control anxiety in younger generation. Someone here.
How to control anxiety in younger generation? Younger generation today is, anxious about a lot of things. One is because I would say again as parents, when I say younger generation, I'm assuming it's teenagers or small children that we are talking about. As parents, communicate very openly with them, transparently with them. What is happening around the world, how life is changing, and how I'm not saying scare them, but also reassure them that knowing the situation in hand, I'm there for you. I will be able to help you no matter what. And anxiety is cleared a lot of times by just communicating, sitting across the table and having a heart-on-heart discussion, heart-to-heart discussion. Because a lot of times children are not able to channelize their energy. They talk to, like I say, they talk to their friends, they talk to children of their own age group. So they are not able to get a resolve out of it. They are not able to get a solution out of it. As parents, as elders, as senior members of the society, I think it's important to communicate openly with them, show them the positive side of the world as well, and also refrain them. Very important. Social media, our screen time is actually making our children much more anxious. So refrain them by from using a lot of screen time, especially using negative screen time, which is negative information. Filter information to them so that they can see some positive light as well and not get anxious about it.
And there are a lot of questions which have come. We'll lay forward into you. We'll take last two questions in the session. The next question is from P. Suguna. Question is children are not concentrating on their studies. How to make them interested in their studies?
This is a very interesting topic, and I can talk about it for days. I would say, ma'am, but in the interest of time, I would not go on. So, we blame our children that they are not good in studies. They're not interested in studies. Now, there are three types of learners that we have. Okay, I mean, and involving all your senses. So we have visual learners, we have kinesthetic learners, and we have auditory learners. I do that a lot in my teenage classes. I do take a lot of teenage classes for teenage children using NLP techniques. uh, Identifying what kind of a learner your child is, whether he's a visual learner, auditory learner, and kinesthetic learner, and then building your curriculum or your teaching methodology around that learning style will be able to click onto the child much faster, and he'll be able to absorb much better, and he'll be able to retain much for a longer time. So if he's a visual learner, if he is more interested in seeing video presentations and he's absorbing with that, we may want to create some video presentations. If he's an auditory learner, podcasts, recordings or many other things are available. If he's a kinesthetic learner, involve them in doing some activities. They will retain faster and they will engage. If you sit down and solve out your math sums, it's not going to work out. They are not going to be interested in that. Involving all your senses in education is very, very important. A lot of teachers are doing that as well.
And then the last question for today.
Yes, ma'am.
Question is how do we break our feeling of loneliness?
How do we break our feeling of loneliness? To take the first step, go and talk to people. I think, again, a negative self-belief is something which is an underlying problem there, and that's the reason why we don't take the first step. A lot of people tell me that I am lonely, I am alone, but I still don't go and talk to people. I still don't approach people, knowing that probably people will extend their hand. I would say, again, what is in your control? If you want your emotions to be regularized, go out, seek support, ask for help. Ask, not only help, talk to people. Talk to positive people. Identify friends around you. Identify siblings, colleagues, parents, relatives, etc. Talk to them and break out your loneliness. Make it a target that I would say put it in your goal sheet. Make it a target that I have to speak to 10 different people a day. If you're lonely, if you feel that you're lonely, make it a habit that you have to talk to 10 different people a day for at least half an hour. Call them, talk to them, or maybe on a Zoom call. These days, Zoom call is very much available for everyone. But do something about it and do multiple things about it. But only then you can get rid of your loneliness. But trust me, we have many people around the world. In India itself, we have 130 crore population. So there are umpty number of people to help you out with this. You just have to take the first step ahead and reach your hand out, and I'm sure there will be hundreds of people there to catch your hand and take you through.
Swati ma'am, on request, there is one question which has come to my WhatsApp also, requesting me not to tell the name, anonymous, that I don't know who the person. Person has asked, I've been continuously being cheated by a person whom I have been trusting each time, but the person has not, shown any kind of a positive response. You need to answer this one.
Continuously cheated by one person.
Same person, yeah.
Same person. So I think it's high time that we move on. There are many other, like I said, there are many other people available. There is dearth of people around the country, around the world. Like I said again, let go of the situation. Let go of the situation. It's easier said than done. I can understand that. But what do you want? You want a partner. If you really want a partner, go out there with a positive frame of mind. Not everyone will be like this person. Not everyone is like that person. All five fingers are not the same. So go out there with a positive intent, build that relationship again, build that trust again, and give an equal opportunity to someone else out there to be able to be your partner. But again, definitely don't go back back to that same person again because, like what you said, multiple times speaking, it's not viable for you to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Like I said, we have a lot of questions. We'll definitely forward these questions to you. Now I request Shima ma'am to take over the session.
Thank you, Shalini.
I would just want to say a note of thanks to everyone, Shalini ma'am, Rekha ma'am, and the entire management committee of Dayanand Sagar. I am really delighted that I was part of this session today, and I hope I've done justice to this session. I was very happy to take on so many questions, and I'll be very, very happy to take on many more questions in the future as well for this particular topic. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does our mind matter? Yes, it does. COVID-19 has wreaked havoc on people's mental health. This is the reason why we have hosted a biggest topic, mental health awareness, which is a major concern worldwide. And we contributing a bit to the society by organizing a webinar on this alarming topic. Good morning, everyone. I'm Professor Shima, honored and lucky to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks. On behalf of Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, I express my heartfelt thanks to our speaker, Ms. Swati Arora. The way ma'am explained was extraordinary. Mrs. Arora mentioned the need for a couple of lifestyle changes that can help reduce stress, encouraged us to build our resilience power, focusing on aspects to be happy, manage relationships in ourselves, sharing important information, and undoubtedly an excellent presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have been fortunate to be supported by our principal, Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy sir, IQSC coordinator, Professor Gurunath sir, BBA HOD, Dr. Suplab K. Bodar sir, BCom HOD, Professor Murugesha sir, for giving constant support and have given a lot of encouragement. I also thank Professor Dharmendra sir for his technical assistance. I thank all the participants for their presence this morning and showing their interest in the program. I must mention my deepest gratitude to our management club inside Hawks team, Professor Rekha MP ma'am and Professor Shalini ma'am. Professor Rekha MP ma'am, thank you so much for initiating a webinar on this topic and arranging an amazing speaker, Ms. Swati Arora, definitely will have a significant impact on all of us. Thank you so much, ma'am. The Ever Network partner and abiding technical support, thank you in abundance, Professor Shalini. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all of you once again. Thanks again for making this webinar a huge success. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think we can leave the session.